All right, what's going on? Nick Kirby, Shane Neal here. We were hoping we would be watching Alexis go for a save, but he's trying to keep this game tied at 3. Shay, why the hell did we just watch Nick Senzel and Kevin Newman bat against a right-handed pitcher?
Your guess is as good as mine, man. I mean, we were just talking about that during the before we went on here, but it just doesn't make any sense when you have 3 good left-handed hitters on your bench. I mean, you have a chance to win this game.
Yeah, I mean, I know the Nats have 3 lefties, but like you're one run away from having Alexis Diaz come in for a save. Like you got to deploy him there. I do not understand that at all. I've supported David Bell platooning. I think it's a smart strategy. I think you saw Senzel hit a home run. Like, you know, that's the positive of platooning. I don't know why. I mean, I guess maybe Senzel, like I can understand he hit a home run, but like Senzel and Newman, like
Right.
I don't get that at all.
And it's a big difference if, Newman's hitting against a righty when you've already used Fraley and Benson, but like they haven't used any of them tonight.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
Well, good news, the Pirates are up 6-2 on the Brewers, so.
And the Cubs got absolutely trounced today by Atlanta.
Yeah, you got a good chance here.
The Atlanta Braves have quite the way of humbling a lot of teams, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. They've been riding high. They'll
Yeah, I was gonna say you start thinking you can hang with the big boys, and then the big boys beat you up.
Chat, we really need some likes here.
Likes equal W's.
There we go. There we go, Alexis.
Nasty slider.
All right, where are we at in the lineup? Is it Votto, CES?
Yeah, Newman ended the inning, so it'd be Votto, CES, and Stevenson.
CES is out of the game.
No, that's right. They took him out.
Oh, I forgot. He did use Benson to pinch run.
That's right.
Still,
so did my guess.
Did that mess up his defense? I don't know. I'm trying to think here. So Steer was in left. He's at first base now. So if he brought in Fraley, yeah, but he had Senzel in right field. Senzel could play third base.
I have no clue what he did.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't get that.
Who knows?
So, I mean, I guess Senzel batting kind of makes sense because Senzel would have to stay in the game and play third base.
Right.
But Senzel could have moved to third base and you could have Fraley bat for Newman. So, yeah, I don't get that.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be a topic tonight, I guess.
Yeah, let's hope that move's not famous.
Whew. Blake Rutherford, former Yankees prospect.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
And then was traded to Chicago in the what deal was that? I can't remember. He was a White Sox for a while. Oh, no, he was traded to Oakland, and then he was in Chicago.
Sit down. I think no one cares where you came from. Sit down.
I think he was actually in that Sonny Gray trade.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's got like 30 friends and family I saw at this game.
Right. Well, his 30 friends and family have watched him go 0-for-4 tonight. We don't know that guy. Great pitching by Alexis.
All
All
right.
right. Got to go walk it off. Like the stream.
Like it. Like it. Like it.
So, yeah, they have Benson hitting in the 7 hole now. So
I mean,
probably
I guess
Benson
I'm glad
Stevenson.
Benson's hitting here.
I guess Benson's going to get in that bat.
Well, are they going to bring in a lefty, though?
You'd think
Maybe.
with Votto and Benson coming up.
Oh, man, that'd be double brutal here, Shay. You pitch run. You pitch run Benson.
I feel
and
like
then he has to face a lefty
Nick,
when he could have faced a righty.
David Bell's had nights this year where he, everything he did everything right, and everything he tried worked out perfectly. Tonight just feels like a night where if the Nats bring in a lefty here, like David just kind of backed himself into a corner.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to fault him for the Benson move. Look, they were up 3-1. He's trying to get an extra run. The extra run is huge. Benson's been a great base stealer, but but then, when it plays out, it did play out pretty terribly. Worst case scenario, almost. They have to be bringing in a lefty. They have 3 lefties.
Yeah, you'd think.
Hopefully, Davy Johnson's just asleep at the wheel. Or not Davy Johnson. Did I say Davy Johnson?
Hey,
I'm going back to.
Some Nationals fans might rather have Davy Johnson at this point.
Davy Martinez. Davy Johnson.
What are the odds you have 2 managers named Davy of the same franchise in the same 20-year span?
That's a great point. That is a great point. All right. Man, the Gamecast is so far ahead of us.
I know.
I don't even want to look at it.
They did have a lefty warming up in that last inning. That is it Joey or Jose Ferrar or whatever his name is? He's a lefty, I think.
Yeah, that's who's in. It's really small on my screen. I hope it's bigger on the people watching screen for the Gamecast. All right.
All right. I've never met a Davey in my entire life. And 2 of them have been major league managers. I can't say I've ever met a Davey either.
Yeah. Nate Diaz looked great. That was that's great to see. I think Bell's really been strategic with him. It's felt like, the last week or so.
And with a lot of closers, Nick, across Major League Baseball, I mean, it just feels like when, as we get later and later into the year and, the moments become more and more important, it just feels like those guys just are unbelievably dialed in. And I have no doubt that Alexis and, when the Reds really need Alexis to be great, he's going to be great.
Yeah. Yeah, Devin Williams blew a save this week, so I mean
they're all human.
Yeah, even Devin, who's looked
even the Airbender, yeah,
as unhuman as they possibly can. All right,
come on, Joey.
I mean, and maybe Joey tries to ambush him, but man, it's like I don't.
He's got 7 walks in 12 innings. So
yeah,
I'd wait to see if he can get over the plate.
Yeah, I don't know if he can get it over twice. Yeah, man, that was a good cut. Man, that was a good pitch. All right.
This seems like the kind of pitcher where it could be a really good at bat for Benson.
That's true. That is true. It's almost weird that you feel like Benson has better plate discipline than Votto at this point, but I almost think.
I think. Oh, yeah, that was an absolute dot. Oh man.
Yeah, who would think that Votto's the bigger slugger and Benson and someone else is the rookies,
the guy who spent his whole career hitting .230 with nothing but home runs is
we had Friedel too. We had Friedel too sitting on the bench. All right, wow. What a game.
Everybody's getting to play tonight. Does that mean all that's left is Maley? I think that's all that's left.
Yeah. He's got to be bullpen insurance.
Yeah.
In case we got a 18-inning game. You send in TJ. I think I'm not. I think I'm gonna make this guy throw strikes.
No, not with Benson at the plate. If it was a guy like that was a little more aggressive, I would consider a hit and run. But I think Benson's got a good chance of drawing a walk or at least getting to a full count here.
Yeah, I don't want to take any chance of helping this guy out.
And I mean, Will's got a walk-off homer this year. I'm just saying. So
No,
Will has proven to the Red fan base that he can turn on one every now and then.
I wonder if Benson has any bunting ability.
Oh,
like
he's 6'6". I can't imagine he's bunted too much.
Well, I'm just, in case if the defense is playing back here, they're not. Yeah, you swing, try to. Yeah, they're playing.
That's a big guy to have drop into a low stance.
Oh,
he is showing bunt.
That'd be a great call if it's just a little fake out too.
Right, he pulls it back and then scorches it to the gap. I'm all for it.
Shay, you made me feel really dumb, and then
oh no,
I was like, oh man. Well, that's a pretty dumb call.
Now I feel dumb too. What did we learn? Just don't trust what I say.
Likes, folks, likes.
Likes equal dub.
We need them.
I guess if Ellie can bunt, anyone can. Take. Will Benson has 80 grade peepers. I don't care what the player card says. The vision immaculate. He's missing in that same spot. He does not want to go into him. I can't blame him.
Green light him. See if you can put one in the river.
If you think it'll land in Kentucky, go ahead and swing.
What? Do you think there's even any remote intention here of bunting, or is it just all for show?
I have no clue.
I have no idea here.
It's amazing that they have this much faith in Tyler Stevenson that they're just like sacrificing Benson. Oh boy. Oh, he just got under
Bally, you did it again.
At least they didn't like zoom out to the power stacks.
Oh, yeah, I don't think he really ever had any intention of bunting there. I think that was just to draw the infield in.
Well, and it is a proven fact that, especially with a young arm like Farrar, if a guy squares up to bunt, it does become harder to get it over the plate. Because you start thinking that he's going to drop down a bunt, it becomes harder to kind of release at the right point. So there is a science to that.
All right, Tyler, let's have a moment here, buddy. Let's have a moment.
This guy's been way too wild for the Reds to not win it right here.
Yeah,
he is walking on a tightrope. Now I'd consider sending Fraley up.
No chance.
Got in there.
I did forget that the Nationals, the Keeper Ruiz has thrown out like 9% of runners this year. He's like the worst in the sport.
And he's also the worst framer in the sport. I can't believe how poor he's been defensively.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't hate it. I think it would have still been a bad idea with Benson up there. But
yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, let's go. Tyler, base it, baby.
Who's hitting 9-hole tonight?
Stewart. I would think they're going to bring in a righty. I mean, it'd be a good matchup for him. But I don't know if they have anyone up in the bullpen.
Do the Reds still have Fraley sitting on the bench if they bring in a righty?
Yeah.
So then I'd leave in the lefty.
That's true. Yeah.
No disrespect to Mr.
No. I mean, Fraley's legit one of the best hitters in the sport
and one of the best clutch hitters in the sport. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you let Fraley come into this game, he might just win it.
David Bell saying, "Please let me use Fraley."
Please bring in a righty.
So I can. Oh, they want.
He's gonna do it. Davey's gonna do it. Oh my God!
Please, David. Please vindicate yourself, brother.
Look at the cojones on Davey Martinez. He is gonna let Jake Fraley come to the plate. Has he not heard? No, hang on, Nick. We don't know. David might not pull Fairchild.
Please, David. Please, you've been given a ninth life here, brother.
Oh my!
You have got a chance to vindicate yourself for
Davey
a
Martinez
really
is
bad
trying to
decision.
cement himself as nincompoop of the night.
Or maybe Davey's like, you know what? Hey, this is a lost season.
This
I'm
team
going to throw David
stinks.
Bell a
Yeah.
bone here.
This team stinks. If Fraley hits it, he hits it.
I know he screwed up. He wasn't thinking.
I think Davey's checked out. I think Davey knows his time as the Nats managers are numbered.
It is interesting when you are facing a team like the Nationals. Like, their mindset really isn't about winning the game at all costs, right? Like, they're trying to protect their relievers and stuff at this point in the season. So it is always, it's weird when you have these games down the stretch that the Reds are going to have a lot of these type of games where you're playing teams that have totally different motivations on a given night, and it could be a good thing or a bad thing.
Sadak made a good point earlier. The Nats have gotten like 6 guys up in the bullpen tonight, and only half of them have come in the game. So they're just kind of getting side work like as they're playing baseball. That's just what, these teams that are 20 games under 500, that's just what they're doing at this point in the year. They're making sure guys get their throws in, get their swings in. The wins and losses are not as important as it would be for a team like the Reds or like the Brewers. So it's an interesting kind of dynamic because the Nats, I'm sure they'll tell you they want to win this game, but, with the way they're managing their team, they probably don't care quite as much as the Reds do.
That was the wrong one. There we go. Davey has a reservation at Ruby's.
Facts. That seems like it. Let's let the Reds' best clutch hitter come up.
With a guy with a 7.59 ERA. All right.
Andres Machado.
Oh, my God. No. Stewart. What are you doing? David.
What an odd night. Is Fraley just like not available?
Yeah.
I don't understand this at all. Like, it's the bottom of the 9th. What are you waiting on using a bullet for? And it'd be a straight swap. He'd play outfield. You'd just slide. I don't know. What an odd night.
Yeah.
All right, Stewart.
Hold on. Jim Day said something about he thinks he's unavailable. I don't know.
Yeah. It has to be that.
That's about the only thing that makes sense.
You'd think he has to be in this game.
But if it's like Bally, this would be a good time to maybe show a shot of the dugout. Like, yeah.
All right. We just need a little poke to right. Good speed.
Oh, no. Is that interference? Or do you have to throw for it to be interference?
I'm not sure about the rule of that.
Fairchild leaned back.
He did, but you think Kybert would sell that throw to get the call, right?
Yeah, that's definitely interference if he throws the ball. I'm guessing that it's not interference if you don't throw it. What a boneheaded mistake there. I mean, I guess, it's hard. You're trying not to throw the ball down the line also, but
the Nationals are trying to just throw this
Stewart.
All right.
Hi, Ellie.
Mr. Franchise coming up now. Now, Nick, this could be a fun show if it's the first career walk-off of Ellie De La Cruz.
It's either be a fun show or a very brutal show.
There's no middle ground.
Look, there's no reason Stuart Fairchild should have batted in that spot. That's not why he's on this roster.
Yeah.
They're walking.
Oh, they're walking him.
Facing Senzel. All right, you got another chance to use Fraley.
I'm telling you, Davey's like, "Are you sure, David? Are you sure?"
I'm gonna give you one more shot here.
I got one more chance.
Dude, what a nutty baseball game.
This is so odd. And now they're gonna have another mound visit.
Why is Bally not showing Jake Fraley? Like,
This is pandemonium.
do they not have any concept
Is
the
he like
game?
not at the park? Like, this is crazy.
Just give me a walk-off wild pitch, and we'll call it.
Well, the Royals a couple nights ago, the Royals won on a balk-off. So anything, I'll take anything.
Walk-off hit by pitch. Oh man, this is one for the ages.
This is something. Nick Senzel, former number 2 overall pick. Do you have a moment in you, sir?
Set it up, Shay. Set it up.
So many doubters, so many injuries. The moment now. That's straight out of the John Sadak playbook of setting at-bats up. Good take.
Thrall said Bell probably wanted to give Fraley a true day. Yeah, I don't. That's
Good
not gonna cut it for me.
You think one at bat in the ninth?
Yeah,
is not a true day off.
No, I mean there's a time and a place, unless he's dealing with something. You know, like that's the only.
Right. I understand not wanting to bring him in like the 5th, but this is one plate appearance in the 9th.
Yeah.
Cincinnati needs a hero, and Nicholas Peter Senzel looking to be the man. Oh, it just that was close to blooping over his head. We got bonus baseball. We shouldn't have bonus baseball, but we have bonus baseball. Red's Twitter is going to be going crazy tonight with like the what happened to Jake Fraley conspiracy theories.
Yeah, I do not understand why they didn't show the dugout.
He's literally the clutchest player on the team. Like he has to be hurt. That's the only logical explanation. Now it is being reported that Jim Day said he hasn't seen Fraley in the dugout tonight.
All right. I mean, yeah, I mean that's the only thing that makes sense. I mean, that would also kind of make sense, I guess, maybe why I still don't think Newman should have hit, but you know why he didn't bat for both Senzel and Newman in that inning, because if he's down a player, that's the only thing that I still think he should have batted for Newman. I don't think there was really any reason for that. That to me was just nuts.
Yeah. That is a good point, though. Ellie will be the ghost runner in the button. No, he won't, right? Because Senzel lined out. It'll be Senzel.
Yeah, I mean Senzel's still.
He's
not Ellie, but you know,
he's still got solid speed. And McLean will be at the plate, and that's big.
I mean, I get this. Like I mean, you're up 3-1. You're trying to get an extra run. I feel like that part of this is really Monday morning quarterbacking. You know, on. Pinch running for CES. You're trying to steal an extra. Wow, Diaz is back out.
This is just a night of weird decisions.
I can't understand why Newman batted. That to me.
How many pitches did Diaz throw in the 9th? Like 12?
Let's find out. Diaz threw 17.
Oh, then,
I
yeah,
am
that's a little
very
odd.
surprised.
Especially with two out of the next 3 hitters are lefties. You'd think either Young or Mole. No one is warming in the pen, apparently. They just said on the broadcast.
Wow. Is Lane Thomas batting leadoff or second?
I think Lane does Abrams hit leadoff now?
Yeah,
And Lane hit second?
Abrams is batting second, so
Abrams was batting second. Okay.
yeah, so you got a chance to avoid Thomas.
Oh man, this chat's awesome.
Sometimes I didn't feel the love on Wednesday. I got to be honest.
They're funny, man. They're not nice all the time, but they're funny. I just see. Yeah, I don't. If he threw 17 pitches in the ninth, like if he had thrown 10, maybe you try to push it. But like Diaz has shown, I'd say probably 75% of the time they try to bring out Diaz for second inning of work. He doesn't do very well.
Yeah, I feel like maybe part of this is they have lack of faith right now in Sims. They must. I think that might have as much to do with it as anything. He has struggled a little bit.
Yeah. And Diaz is overthrowing all of his sliders right now.
Just take the out. Now, if you can somehow strand him, I mean, you're still sitting okay.
But yeah, and I mean, you have McLean.
Yeah.
McLean and Steer coming up to start the bottom half. So that's probably the best part of the lineup to have coming up.
I know the Nats closer has been pitching pretty well of late, Finnegan. All right. You can't go to you can't go to third there, Barry. Don't get cute. I don't go to third there, throw the ball on the line. You know what I mean? Like, just
right.
Take the out. Come on. Yeah, good block, Tyler.
Cool. What an awkward swing.
You got to walk Thomas, right?
You'd think, but
no chance you let Thomas back.
Well, Nick, now we've seen a lot of no chance happen tonight. No chance they let Newman hit. No chance they let Fairchild hit.
Well, in fairness, I guess Fraley is unavailable, but I'm seeing a lot. Well, someone just tweeted me and said they said it on the broadcast. So.
Yeah, it has to be that.
Why is he pitching to Lane Thomas? And why was that a ball?
I don't.
Why is anything?
Nothing makes sense tonight, Nick.
I mean, this guy is like Barry Bonds of the Nationals. Like,
is J.R. House calling the shots right now? Like, what's going on? I don't understand. That is smoked. Man.
Why would you pitch to him?
You have Keibert Ruiz on deck, who has just been a horrible player all year.
It's actually Meneses on deck.
Oh, you're right. It's Meneses and then Keibert. Yeah.
I mean, he did a home run earlier, but I mean, Lane Thomas is like, he's by far their best player.
Well, Lane Thomas hit 3 home runs here last year.
Yeah.
It almost hit Blue Shirt in the face.
Just don't get this one, Shay. Don't get this one at all.
This one's been a weird one, Nick. First 8 innings, first 7+, we're going well. And then since then, a lot of weird decisions. Uh-oh.
Nope. I cut out.
Camera down.
Can you still hear me?
I hear you. Your camera's off.
That's wild. I thought it was fully charged. I had it off. All right, let's see what we can do here. I don't know if everyone wants to show my face.
Might be better to leave the cameras off tonight, folks.
Be better.
Oh, man. There you go.
Yeah, you got the hold on. Let's
just not a whole lot going right in the last hour.
All right. Yeah, Chad, I don't know. Man, I'm the biggest David Bell supporter out there. I do not understand what he was doing tonight. I got no answers for you. I have no answers for you.
The only thing that we've reasonably heard is Fraley's not available. But even then, we don't even know if it's unavailable because of an injury or unavailable because David said he's unavailable.
Rave Damsey, I love your energy.
I was gonna say
that is a diamond in the rough tonight, my friend. I don't even have that energy right now, so I appreciate you.
Yep. We need to get a soundbite on here of Eugenio Suarez saying "good vibes only," guys.
Yeah.
Danny Duarte. Is that Brewers game still looking like a Pirates lead? Because they might need it.
Still 6-2. I was only on the 4th, though. So the way this night's going, I'm not counting on anything right now.
You said it's Quinn Priester pitching tonight for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, good old Quinn. Quinn, we really need you, brother.
Quinn, give me 7, please, bro.
Now they still got Bedard. Still got Bedard. Man.
This could be one heck of a press conference tonight. Oh, what a dot. Nice pitch.
All right. A bloop and a blast, right?
Yeah.
With the
Yeah.
It is a bloop and a blast.
2 bloops and a blast, and this one's over, folks.
No, you only need 1 bloop. You got a ghost runner.
That's right.
Yeah. I sent him an invite. He's on a golf trip. Trust me. I wish there was Trace. I honestly would just probably mute my mic and say, go for it, Trace. You'll say it better than I can. I have nothing. Yep. I have nothing left, man. I have nothing to defend. This is yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it.
This weird bobblehead commercial is so weird. Makes me uncomfortable.
I didn't get that one.
They have Nestor Cortez shaking his head and Mookie's nodding, and it just makes me uncomfortable. Kyle Finnegan. Yeah, Trace is probably having much more fun golfing than watching this.
See, I'm getting this. I'm getting this all night here, but like the big red platoon worked. It's just David Bell just didn't employ it right. Like it worked.
David didn't take out the big red platoon. Yeah,
Sinzel hit a home run. Like it worked. I just don't know why you didn't use the other half of it. Like it wasn't used right. Like
Nick Senzel.
It's not the strategy's fault. It's the deployers. I don't like it's all on Bell. I don't have anything else to say other than that.
Oh, Matt McClain, if there was a time for a 4-hit night. Does CES have enough at bats, Nick, where they can track his sprint speed and what percentile he's in?
I don't know.
Because and deservedly so, a lot of people are talking about Benson coming in for CES, and I'm just curious if he's really that slow, because he seems like he's not that slow.
No, he's not. Every game I watched in the minors, and I think I said this on the show when they called him up, I was very surprised how quick he was.
He seems like he's at least close to league average.
Yeah. I'm pulling it up. Give me a second. He's below average. He's between Barrero and Stevenson. So I mean, look, he's
Barrero's sprint speed's that low? I didn't know that.
Barrero is incredibly sneaky slow. You think he's way faster. I mean, he's like below Will Myers and
wow.
Yeah. I'm not going to crush him on that one. I mean, look, it's a 3-1 game. You're trying to get any extra run you can. I don't have an issue with that. I mean, it's just the Newman one is the one. The Newman and the pitching to Thomas, those are the two. I cannot understand what you were thinking there. It's almost like he panicked after he, put Benson in, then he tied it. I don't know. I mean, that's almost like where you're, it's like your whole team, right? Like You need your bench coach to say, "Hey, David, you think this through a little." You know what I mean? Like you need a whole team of guys on your bench that are looking out for things like that.
Right.
Hey, you can move Senzel to third base for Newman and put Friedel in.
Man, Steer just got 2 fastballs down the chute.
I mean, this guy's been pitching really well. I think he has like 8 straight scoreless appearances. This is not the guy you want to be facing. I mean,
yeah. Oh, and it's going to hook. Dang.
man.
It's just one of those nights, Nick.
Oh, man.
I just saw the... Jeez. I was a 1.5 feet from hitting that pole. I just saw the ticker at the bottom of the screen, and it looks like Luis Castillo is getting DeGrom treatment this year. 7-7 with a 2.8. Someone move the pole. I agree. Then he throws a splitter. Oh, no. All right, here we go. The man of the hour.
Oh, man, of course.
Everyone's favorite Red.
Of course, Newman's the last batter.
Pretty
poetic.
Isn't baseball a beautiful sport where it all comes down to Kevin Newman? See, that's the spirit, Scott. At least we still have Newman. Yeah, mm-hmm.
RM, I agree. I agree 100%. I think you're spot on. You can shake those ones off. This is a lot harder.
This one's losing 20-9. You can convince the clubhouse that you really didn't have much of a shot. This one's one that'll knock the wind out of you.
Yeah.
There's that A-grade plate coverage of Kevin Newman fighting off tough pitches. I'm sorry, Chad. It's not the night to poke. I'm sorry.
Well, let's
we said it would either be a great show or a brutal one. Well, we know the answer. Let's do it.
High drive, left center field, racing back to the Laurel Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! He did! Red win! Win! Line to the right field. Junior, the first Red ever, with 4 home runs in a game. Breakaway and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed the no-hitter. Oh, are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win it. What a dream beginning to the career of Jay Bruce.
All right, Nick Kirby, Shane Neal here. This is a tough one. This is, I think, no question, the roughest loss of the year for the Reds. No two ways around it. We'll do our best to break it down, try to make some sense of it. Jay, I don't know what else to say, man. This was a bad loss.
Yeah, I can promise half of the statement you just said. We'll break it down. I'm not sure even after talking for a half hour, Nick, we're going to be able to make any sense of it.
Well, let's go ahead and jump into the box score recap. In case you missed it, this was an early game, started at 6:40. We will run through what happened. Bottom of the first, Nick Senzel hit a solo home run to right field, put the Reds up 1-0. Number 9 on the season for Senzel. On the very next pitch, Matt McLean hit his 12th home run of the season to straightaway center field. That made it 2-0 Reds. Bottom of the third, Elly De La Cruz. He had his first career home run hitting from the right side. 113 off the bat. Home run number 9 for Elly. That made it 3-0 Reds. Graham Ashcraft, he was absolutely brilliant through the first 7 innings. He only allowed a solo home run. Ashcraft was helped out. Stuart Fairchild made 2 really incredible catches playing center field tonight. Ashcraft 1 out away from getting through the 8th inning with a 3-1 lead, but a weak single by Lane Thomas and then a 2-run home run by Joey Meneses tied the game up at 3. Reds failed to score in the 9th. David Bell decided to let both Nick Senzel and Kevin Newman bat against a right-handed pitcher. Both Nick Senzel and Kevin Newman have very bad numbers against right-handed pitching. In the 10th inning, Alexis Diaz came back out for his second inning of work, gave up 3 runs, including a 2-run home run to Lane Thomas, the Nationals' best hitter, with 2 outs in the inning, with obviously 2 bases empty. Reds fall 6-3. Reds 59-53. Reds did get some help today. The Cubs got trounced by the Braves 8-0 over in Milwaukee. They trail Pittsburgh 6-2. So at the end of the day, I mean, the Reds could get away with not losing any ground, but I don't know if that really takes away the sting of a very, very bad loss for the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, and I mean, we're at a point now where, for when obviously, it's how you spin it, and you can still say if the Brewers end up losing tonight that they didn't lose any ground. But at the same time, you can spin it the other way, Nick, and say they've had opportunities over the last 3 weeks. I mean, the Brewers and Cubs, when not playing the Reds, Cubs maybe not quite as much because they've been playing pretty well, but the Reds have had a chance to really, not necessarily put them away, but put them in the rearview mirror by a couple games. And it's just frustrating because this team has played so well for, 90% of this season. And it's growing pains of a young team, but they're playing without a doubt their most inconsistent baseball of the season right now. And it's coming at a really, really bad time. They got to figure it out quick, because if they don't, the Brewers and Cubs do have more experience than the Reds do. And the Brewers and Cubs will eventually figure it out.
Yeah, and I mean, look, if Pittsburgh is able to hang on tonight, that would be great. But you can't expect that the Pirates are going to beat the Brewers that many times. So, you may get a gift tonight, but you're not able to capitalize on it. Let's just jump right into David Bell, because that's where I'm sure everyone's head is at right now. Let's try to break down the moves again. It's a little difficult to do in real time when you're trying to be here, produce a show. Do everything that goes with it. So apologize if I miss anything that happened. But We start off, David Bell had Will Benson pinch run for Christian Encarnacion Strand in the bottom of the 8th inning. Is that correct here? I want to make sure we get everything right here.
Bottom of the 7th.
Bottom of the 7th inning. Okay,
Yes.
so bottom of the 7th inning, Reds at this point were leading 3-1. Obviously, that's a move that comes back to play because it sounds, and chat, if there's anything on the post-game show, please let us know. We can't obviously be watching that and talking at the same time. So if there is an official update on Jake Fraley, let us know. But by all intents and purposes, it sounds like Jake Fraley was unavailable today. Let's start with the Will Benson move. Let's try to go through these one at a time. I don't have an issue with pinch running for using Will Benson as a pinch runner, even with Jake Fraley unavailable. You're leading 3-1. You're trying to steal an extra run. The difference between being ahead 3-1 and being ahead 4-1 is huge in terms of any sort of win probability. So I'm not going to crush him on that individual move. Shay, what's your thoughts on that particular move?
I mean, I see where his head was at. I do. It was the part that I don't love is that, I mean, they moved Steer over to first base, but obviously hindsight's 2020. But if you take out a bat like CES, it's obviously going to hurt the productivity of the offense. But I wish they would have, if they were going to make a move to take out a guy, it would have been a guy that could have been more of a straight swap. And could have just kind of filled in at that position. I think bringing in Benson kind of, shifted everything around. And we kind of talked about it a little bit in that 10th inning, Nick. I mean, it almost feels like that when he brought in Benson and then they didn't score and then the Nationals tied it up, it almost felt like he got like tongue-tied a little bit. And he was hesitant to make another move the rest of the night. And that's kind of where my mindset's at. I don't mind bringing in Benson to pinch run. I see where his head was at. But I wish it would have been done without kind of shifting everyone around, because I think that's what really kind of, started the snowball kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I would disagree. I would say that pitch running is fine, but you got to be prepared for the next step, what happens. And I felt like they weren't prepared from that aspect. Because, you're up 3-1. You're pinch running Will Benson. You're also going to have a much better defensive lineup because you're getting Steer out of left field. You're playing him at first base. I think Steer and CES probably comparable first baseman. I don't think you're really gaining an advantage there, but you're clearly gaining some advantage with Will Benson in the outfield with a lead. But that was the first move in this domino. So then, unfortunately, Graham Ashcraft gives up the lead. We'll talk about Graham Ashcraft's start here in a minute. And then in the 9th inning, you had Senzel, or no, I'm gonna have to look at this. Again, doing this in real time is a little tough for stuff that happens in the game. So in the 8th, this was the 8th inning. Okay, so Nick Senzel leads off. He strikes out. So at that point, you have TJ Friedl on your bench.
Yes.
And is in Luke Maley, assuming Jake Fraley's unavailable, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. So I guess having Senzel bat's fine. I don't really have an issue with that because if you only have one left, you gotta, that's fine to save it. And Senzel had homered early in the game, so Senzel strikes out. McLean singles, so you have the winning run, the go-ahead run on first base. Steer strikes out, and then Newman comes up the bat. That's where I just don't understand. Why would you not use TJ Friedl there? That's what I don't understand.
Well, and it's like he brought in Friedl as the pinch runner for Votto after Votto drew the walk. And that would make sense, Nick, if you had Fraley available, because Friedl stole second base. Friedl even snuck into third when was it when Fairchild was at the plate? And so he got to third base with one out. Friedl did his job when he came in as a pinch runner, but why bring in Friedl as a pinch runner if you know Fraley's not available? If you know Fraley's not available, you've got to save Friedl for that lefty bat when I would have rather had Votto run the bases and have Friedl hit for Newman than Friedl come in to run for Votto and have Newman hit.
Yeah, no, because I mean, look, you have Matt McLean is the go-ahead run on base. Matt McLean's got great speed. I mean, you literally just need TJ Friedl to, put one barely in the gap and you take the lead there. So that's the biggest. That's the I guess that's 1A of the biggest blunder for me is Newman batting. in that spot there. And you could have had, because you had Senzel bat, which we already said if Fraley's unavailable, I'm okay with that. I don't have an issue with that. But Senzel was in right field. Senzel could come in, play third base for Newman, and then Friedel could go out to center field. Fairchild moves over to right. No problem about it. All right. So he doesn't do that. Okay. So then we get into the ninth inning, and it's like David Bell gets a second chance. But he uses TJ Friedel to pinch run for Joey Votto, and then doesn't have him available to bat for Stuart Fairchild. And that's just where that pinch runner I really don't understand, because you're down to your last batter other than Maley.
Right.
And Stuart Fairchild's 3 batters away after Votto gets on base. That's just where I can't understand the logic there.
No.
You had 2 opportunities to use TJ Friedel with a chance to win this game. And
it seemed like, and that's kind of what we were talking about, Nick, where he brought in Friedel to run for Votto. Friedel stole second with who's hitting 7th? Benson at the plate. And then Benson ends up just missing one. I mean, he hit it to the track. It was just about a 2-run walk-off. But after that, you'd think he was banking on Tyler Stevenson winning this game, Nick, because as soon as Tyler Stevenson got out and Stuart Fairchild comes to the plate, he was really, he was out of bullets. And at this point of the year, Tyler Stevenson's a great guy, and I still think he has a lot of room to improve and be a solid major league player. But with what he showed you in 2023, Nick, how on earth could you be banking on Tyler Stevenson to win this game?
I mean, you can even make a case to use Friedel to pitch hit for Tyler Stevenson.
Right.
Because I could say Stuart Fairchild might be a better hitter right now than Tyler Stevenson. It's just, there's just so many spots that you could use Friedel to win the game, and you use him as a pinch runner. I don't get that. Again, the Benson one, it's a totally different situation, because the Reds had a lead at that point. That they weren't in a spot where they needed to get a run to get ahead. And putting Benson in does improve your defense with a lead. I can get behind that. I understand why other people might not like it, but I think if we're being rational, you can find the understanding in that.
Oh yeah.
I just do not understand how you let Newman hit, and then how you let both Stevenson and Fairchild hit. You got to use Friedel in that spot. All right.
I agree. And I think before I forget, I saw somebody in chat, I think it was Allie, said, since we're talking about it, the Benson play and the Friedel play, the one that I'm okay with, and I know you were with me on this one, Nick, I'm fine that they didn't have Friedel steal with Benson at the plate, because and we kind of touched on that during the game, but I think Benson, it felt like a good matchup for Benson. The Nationals lefty Farrar wasn't finding the strike zone very well. I thought Benson had a good chance of drawing a walk, or at least reaching a full count anyway. So that was the one I was okay with. You could argue that for sure. Now, I think where the argument is not necessarily having Friedel steal with Benson at the plate, but having Benson bunt. I think Benson's way too good of a hitter to have him lay down the bunt. It felt like you were burning an at bat again with Tyler Stevenson and Stuart Fairchild on deck. He did end up swinging away, Nick. But I mean, if you've got Benson, Stevenson, and Fairchild as your bottom 3, and Fraley wasn't available, I mean, Benson's your best hitter. I don't care if it's a lefty on your mound. You tell Will Benson he's got to do whatever it takes.
Well, I'm not sure if Benson actually was ever going to bunt.
That's
because
true.
He never actually attempted a bunt. Every single one of them he pulled back. Now, they were pitches out of the zone, so it's hard to know. Was he actually, is his, was this just plate? I know he has incredible plate discipline, but is it that good that he was pulling back every time, or was it just completely a show? Which I don't have a problem. And you saw their third baseman came in a long way.
Yeah.
So it could have been just completely for show to try to draw him in. Benson's not been a great hitter at this point of his career against left-handed pitching. You're trying to draw him in, see if you can sneak a single through. So I don't have an issue. I don't like him bunting, especially because I have never seen him bunt. So I doubt that he has. You never want to bunt with the guy that's not almost a sure thing, or 70% or something like that. And I definitely don't feel like he was in that spot, but I think he might have just been showing. So I'll give a pass on that. Let's get to the last decision that was just I don't know, but it's as bad as any of them. I do not understand this one at all. So you get to the 10th. Alexis Diaz comes out for a second inning of work. I'm not going to get too critical on that. They know Alexis Diaz. If they thought that he was fresh, they thought that he had 2 in him tonight, I can live with that. I also think there might be some hesitation with Lucas Sims because of how he struggled of late. So I don't necessarily hate Alexis Diaz move. But nonetheless, Alexis Diaz gives up a leadoff double. That is what it is. Nats do a sack bunt. And then Alexis Diaz gets CJ Abrams to strike out, the huge out. It's a 1-run game. It's 4-3. You still have a chance. You have the tying run at second base to start the bottom of the inning, and Lane Thomas comes up to the plate. And Lane Thomas, if you know anything about the Washington Nationals, is their best hitter, and it's not even close. Mm-hmm. I mean, he is by far their best hitter, and you have 2 bases opened, and I just have no idea on earth why you would pitch to Lane Thomas. I know Joey Meneses hit a home run, but you don't even really have to pitch to Joey Meneses. Like, you could pitch around him too. I do not understand why you'd pitch to Lane Thomas, and of course he blasted a 2-run home run, and pretty much on all intents and purposes, you're going up against another team's closer. Your chances of scoring 3 runs are very, very slim. So any thoughts on how the top of the 10th played out?
Well, first of all, I don't think Diaz should have come back out after throwing 17 pitches in the 9th. And, he could have gone out there and gotten 3 more outs in the 10th. I still would have not liked him to come out for the 10th because, Nick, now he can't pitch tomorrow. And, I mean, there's a chance he probably won't be able to pitch on Sunday either. And right now, the Reds have shown that they struggle with teams inside their own division. They need to win any game they can that's outside of their division. And I don't like the move of burning 35 pitches out of your all-star closer in game 1 of a series. So 1, I didn't love that. And 2, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I think that it just didn't make any sense. There was a guy on second. First base was open. Walking Thomas would not have only not allowed their best hitter to swing the bat. It would have also allowed for a force out at 3 different bases with 2 outs. It just, with Meneses coming up, I mean, Meneses had a home run on the night, but Meneses is much more of a ground ball hitter than Thomas is too. So it just, I mean, there were 3 or 4 different details that went into that moment that just did not make sense to me. And then as soon as that ball went off Thomas's bat, I mean, you knew at the very least it was a double off the wall. And it was frustrating because it felt like it was preventable.
Yeah, tough one. All right. I guess final thoughts here on David Bell before we move on to the other stuff. We'll try from this point on. We got David Bell out of the way. If you're just joining us, hit rewind, watch that again. I'm not going to rehash it. I don't want to think about it again, to be honest with you. Yeah. But final thoughts. My final thoughts on this on David Bell. Look, I love David Bell. I've been a David Bell supporter. I know a lot of people aren't, and that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. David Bell had a terrible night. He had an awful night, an almost inexcusable night. And I don't throw around the words inexcusable lightly. Anyone who's watched the show knows I don't do that. I don't say things like that. I try to keep it real and try not to be caught as a prisoner of the moment. But this was just inexcusable tonight. I don't understand it at all. But, managers, umpires, guys who do stupid shows like this, we all have bad nights. Yeah. Hopefully it was just a god-awful night for David Bell. Flush it down and we can move on. But this kind of stuff can't happen again. This was a atrocious night.
Yeah, and this is, first of all, this is the kind of night that in a 100-loss season in 2022 is irritating, but you move on pretty quick. When you're 7 games over 500 and a half game out of first place in a division in the second week of August, this is just something that a fourth-year manager can't do, Nick. And David Bell, I'm with you. I think David Bell's grown so much since the first year or 2 we saw him. I think he's gotten so much more confident in his decision-making. I think he's not second-guessing himself as much. I've seen the progression. I still don't know if I'm 100% sold on him, but I've seen the progression enough to where I'm not, all in on letting him go. But tonight was just not a lot of things that didn't make sense. A lot of things that just, I mean, one, obviously now, and Steve put this in the chat, and I wanted to point it out. Apparently, David Bell said Fraley was not available tonight, and they would have more information tomorrow. So now it sounds like David Bell knew that going in with what he said there.
I don't think he got hurt. I don't think he got hurt in between the 7th and 8th innings.
Exactly. He knew that going in, interpreting that quote, which means if he knew Fraley wasn't going to be available tonight, Nick, he should have just – there were so many things he should have done differently if you knew Jake Fraley wasn't going to be able to come off the bench, because the way he managed up until the bottom of the 9th, he was managing it like the Reds had just gotten a couple base runners against a lefty that was wild, and now he was going to bring in Jake Fraley to win the game. And then we find out Jake Fraley wasn't available. That just can't happen. If you know Jake Fraley is not going to be able to play, you have to do it differently.
It's almost like you use Diaz in 2 innings, like you're going all in to win this game by that type of move. But why would you not go all in with TJ Friedel hitting for Kevin Newman? Like those two just don't. There's some of those moves are excusable, but all of them together, that's far too many to come up with a good excuse. And we'll move on from there. I don't know what else to say. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. Let's talk about Graham Ashcraft. Man, gosh, he was so good. Shay, I was really excited, as I was watching this game that you were on tonight, because I think you do such a good job understanding and breaking down pitchers. Let's not forget how good of a night Graham Ashcraft got. Mm-hmm. I guess before we get into Graham Ashcraft, let's talk about the decision to leave him in the 8th. If this was a do or die game, I'm not going to let him face Lane Thomas and Joey Meneses for a third time. Based on how much you've used your bullpen, how good Ashcraft would look overall, I didn't really have an issue with it. It's one of those, like, you're really on the fence of going one way or the other. Like, I don't have a strong conviction either way on that. Do you have a strong conviction either way on if you should have gone? Because he had Diaz warming.
Yeah, he did. I'm completely fine with them bringing Ashcraft out for the 8th. I actually tweeted, I think after the 5th, and I said, because obviously the bullpen was taxed to hell and back in Chicago. And I said, it's a good night for Graham Ashcraft to throw 8 innings and give the bullpen the night off they need. And I mean, Nick, he really just threw 2 bad pitches tonight. It was just unfortunate that his 2 bad pitches were to the 2 guys in the Washington lineup that can beat you, and that's Lane Thomas and Joey Meneses.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about Graham Ashcraft overall, because he has really turned his season around. If the Reds are able to hang in this race, Graham Ashcraft is going to have to be a huge part of it. His last 6 or 7 starts, however many it's been, have been probably the best stretch of his entire career, even maybe better than his first 6 starts of the year where he was really, really good.
Yep.
What do you think has been the difference to Graham Ashcraft? Do you have any idea what you think it is?
Well, one, I think it's 2 things, really. I think one, he's back to having those 2 different fastballs, where I know now he's calling it more of a 2-seamer than a sinker. I know he used to call it a sinker, but it's so important for Graham. He gets strikeouts, but I mean, the guy that we saw get 10 Ks in 6 innings back in spring, Nick, that's not Graham Ashcraft. I mean, that might happen once every 10 starts. But Graham Ashcraft's a guy that's going to get 4 to 6 strikeouts when he gets the ball. So for a guy that allows contact as much as he does, you need your primary pitch, your primary fastball to move in 2 different directions. And that cutter he has, he throws that more than anything else. He loves that pitch. That's his number 1. But now he has that 2-seamer that he can either backdoor on the outside corner to righties. He can go, he can jam it in on him. He's just got that fastball moving in 2 different directions. That's so important. That's really why he struggled, was because all he had was that cutter. And once hitters timed up the cutter, it was trouble for him. And then the other thing that's made him really good is just his slider is so much sharper than it was for a couple months in the middle of the season. He's not only throwing it off the plate down and away to get swings and misses and get strikeouts. That is his strikeout pitch. But something I've seen him do a lot more, and I'm sure a lot of people in chat have as well, is he lands that slider at the top of the zone to kind of freeze the hitters. And that's really his go-to get a head strike 1 pitch. And it's worked out very well for him. So I've been very impressed with Graham. His last 7 starts, 2.05 earned run average. He's only given up 35 hits in 44 innings. The whip just over 1. I mean, he's, like you said, Nick, it could be argued that he's been better the last month than he was the first month of the year, and he was one of the 10 best pitchers in baseball the first month of the year.
Yeah, he's been great, and hopefully he can continue to keep it up. Let's move on to Elly De La Cruz. Hit his first home run from the right side off of a lefty. Let's take a step back. Let's talk about the Reds' offense overall. I know probably a lot of people you're also looking back at this game and you're going, well, he only scored 3 runs off Patrick Corbin, one of the worst pitchers. I felt like it was a tough only scoring 3 runs. I mean, the Reds had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hard hit balls off Corbin. They had several that almost got out. It felt like it was going to be back to back to back on Senzel, McClain, and Steer. Man, up and down the lineup, it felt like I don't want to really fault them for their performance against Patrick Corbin. I think it was just some of it was, some poor luck that they weren't able to get more than that. Is that how you felt watching this game?
Yeah, I think. I mean, it's the start they got off to. It's easy to be a little frustrated that they only got 3 runs and what ended up being 6 1/3 for Patrick Corbin tonight. But I thought for the most part, honestly, Corbin was doing a good job of keeping that sinker low in the zone, getting ground balls. I think, at the end of the day, sometimes, and I know Chat's not going to be in the mood to hear this, but, sometimes it's just the pitcher pitched a good game. And I thought for the most part, other than those mistakes he threw to McClain and to Senzel in the first inning, and even the Senzel one was a fastball in the outer half. It was just a pretty good swing. I thought Corbin, for the most part, was pretty good tonight. And I thought the Reds definitely could have taken advantage of some more opportunities. That 4th inning stands out to me when they had 2 on with nobody out and weren't able to tack on. But I thought for the most part, Corbin did a pretty nice job limiting their chances. And other than the home runs, they really, you could argue, only had 1 or 2 chances to score off of Corbin.
Yeah. All right. Elly De La Cruz, like I mentioned a second ago, first home run in his young big league career against a lefty. I feel like Elly, I'm starting to get a good feeling that he is heading in the right direction, like he really be taking off. I know our good friend at Reds and 4 had a really good thread today talking about his I won't get too far into the weeds on the analytical side of this, but basically showing that there's some serious progress in the way that he's hitting the ball and his hard hit rate and all that kind of stuff. I feel like Elly's about to take off. What do you think on Elly?
It feels like it's inevitable that he's just going to have one of those scorching hot streaks that, he really kind of takes this team's offense to the next level, and he kind of fully emerges onto the scene as being a future star in Major League Baseball. I'd say you could argue he already is a star in Major League Baseball, but it's been touched on a couple of times, Nick, but you look at it, it's been a roller coaster of the first 2 months in the big leagues for Elly De La Cruz. We've had people say he strikes out too much, which is probably true. We've had people say that, he needs to adjust. He's too, he needs to go back down to AAA, blah, 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 blah. There's been a lot of people in a lot of different situations that have questioned the readiness of Elly De La Cruz. And we sit here 2 months into his big league career, 21 years old as of January, 268 average, OPS of 800. And he has not had that first really hot streak in the major leagues yet. That's impressive. He's been a slightly above average hitter in the league with an average OPS. And we're waiting for that explosion, which means, it is what we've known it is. This is a star. And the fact that his slow start to the show and his adjustment period is 270 with an 800 OPS, there's 70% of hitters in Major League Baseball, Nick, would kill for a 270 with an 800 OPS.
Yeah, to have a 98 OPS and to have, I don't want to say lost, but I don't know what the step below lost. At times he's felt almost that. At times this year, he's still producing at this level. I think he's really on the cusp of hopefully taking off. Nick Senzel also hit a home run tonight. I think Nick Senzel's done a really, really good job in the role that he's been given. He's absolutely crushed left-handed pitching. That was a huge home run, putting the Reds up 1-0. What's your thoughts on Nick Senzel?
I thought it was a good swing. Like I said, it was a fastball in the outer half. It was a good swing. And to go kind of off of your point, I think Nick Senzel has done a good job in, what his role on this team should be. Hitting left-handed pitching, providing some positional versatility. The problem is when he struggles, Nick, and when, people bash him for not being that good of a player, it's because he's kind of put in situations where he really shouldn't be put into. And I think that at this point of Nick Senzel's career, I think we know what he is. We know that he's not going to be the future star that we had hoped he would be when he was the second overall pick in 2016. But we know there's some stuff that he's really good at. We know he can play third base, second base, left field, right field, center field. We know he's got some flexibility there, which is valuable. We know he can hit left-handed pitching, which is valuable. So I wish this team sometimes, and I mean, tonight's just kind of a boiling point for me, but I wish you can kind of see when we sit here on Chatterbox Reds and you can see how this roster is constructed and where guys kind of fit in terms of how they should play, where they should play, when they should play. And I think the Reds know that for the most part, and it's just frustrating that sometimes they don't always follow that plan.
Yeah, Nick Senzel updated stats, 329 average, 959 OPS against left-handed pitching this year. Nick Senzel against right-handed pitching, 180 average, 553 OPS against left-handed pitching. Obviously, I think maybe the left might be a little bit of an extreme, right might be a little bit of an extreme. Those over the course of the season might both come up a little bit. The left might come down a little bit. But it's very clear at this point. Nick Senzel is a good player against left-handed pitching. He should not get at-bats against right-handed pitching, at least consequential at-bats against right-handed pitching. There's just no way around it.
Well, and it's just like, I mean, Nick, you have, just thinking about it, if a right-handed pitcher is on the mound, you have TJ Friedl, Will Benson, Jake Fraley, you have Ellie De La Cruz, Matt McClain, Jonathan India when he comes back. I mean, he might not be an all-star, but he's not as bad as what he's been the last couple of months. That is not Jonathan India is a better player than that. CES, Joey Votto. I mean, you have already, Nick, 8-9 guys that are better options against right-handed pitching. I mean, it shouldn't even cross your mind unless it's just, once every 3 weeks maybe, just to give a guy a day or to, kind of give, a Sunday day game, whatever. But it shouldn't even cross your mind to even Nick Senzel is probably the 9th or 10th best hitter on this roster against right-handed pitching. He shouldn't see the lineup against righties. Yeah.
I think it's pretty clear the numbers of what they are, and he's done well in his role, and I hope he stays in his role. Let's talk about the actual MVP of the game. Probably should have led with him, but Matt McClain, another just great night. 3 hits, hit a home run. He hit the furthest home run of the night at I think it was 422, the straightaway center field. Matt McClain has just had an unbelievable season. Just feels like he continues to get better, and it has really, his slumps have been so small for a rookie. Yeah. He's been able to get through them so quick and move on and find some success. What's your thoughts on Matt McClain?
He's damn good. In a year where we've had ups and downs with Jonathan India, Joey Votto, Ellie De La Cruz, Tyler Stevenson, Nick Senzel, Will Benson. I mean, every single player on this roster, Nick, Graham Ashcraft, every single player on this roster, it feels like, has had good moments and bad moments. And it's unbelievable that a 23-year-old has just come up and been so damn good every single day. Matt McClain just comes out there, and like you said, his slumps are 2-3 games, not 2-3 weeks, because of just how mature and how disciplined he is at the plate. It is unbelievable what we're watching. Ellie gets all the praise because Ellie hits the ball hard. Ellie runs fast. Ellie is, the future potential MVP. But let me tell you, I mean, Matt McClain, he's creeping up on Corbin Carroll pretty quick in that Rookie of the Year race. And when you watch Matt McClain play, I mean, I think you see a future multi-time All-Star, and he might be in a race or two for an MVP of his own if he keeps going at the rate he's been going in his rookie year, because he's been so damn impressive.
All right, well, let's hear what David Bell had to say in the postgame.
To assume that this one stings more than others, just the way it unfolded and 6 unanswered.
Yeah, I don't know how to measure it, or put a number on it or anything like that. We go out every day to win a game, and that's the goal. That'll be the goal tomorrow. And a lot of things happened today. Graham obviously put us into a really good position to win the ball game, and that's a positive. There's no question. The way he's been pitching is really important to our team. So, that's very much a positive to focus on from tonight.
Was Jake Fraley unavailable tonight? There were a few situations that he would have probably hit, I'm assuming, if all things are right.
Yeah, Jake was unavailable tonight, so we will have more information on Jake tomorrow.
For Alexis, obviously he's been so good. Those are tough to handle. Did you see anything in that second inning when he went out there? He hadn't pitched in 5 days that you noticed that they got to him?
It's what we asked him to do. Very, very difficult. Pitch the ninth inning, go back out for a 10th with a runner on, and then top of their order comes around. Guys are swinging the bat really well. So, we felt good about that, obviously, with Alexis going back, but it's a lot to ask, and it could have gone different. But like I said, those guys are really swinging the bat well, and at that point, Alexis is up near 30 pitches and territory he hasn't really needed to get to very often, just because he's been so good.
When you came out in the 8th inning, were you kind of questioning the direction he took to first base?
Yeah, and I can't see it, from where I am. It's a really tough angle from our dugout, but I just wanted to ask the question. I still haven't seen it, or it's too late now anyway. But on that call, I have to trust that they had a good view of it, the first base umpire and the home plate umpire.
Is that reviewable?
No, it's not. It's not reviewable.
All right. Well, that's what David Bell had to say.
He didn't do himself any favors by answering that first question of it's hard to measure how good and bad some losses are. I guess I kind of see what he's saying, but Nick, that's straight off of page 6 of the coach's handbook.
David Bell, man,
that is literally the most head coach vanilla answer to that question ever. And you know what ticks me off a little bit? Since we're in kind of a ticked off mood tonight.
Hey, let it fly. Take Trace's spot.
Why did nobody in that press conference, and I haven't listened to the whole press conference yet, so if I'm wrong, I will apologize. Why did nobody in that press conference, Jim Day or anyone else, ask him about pitching to Lane Thomas? Why the hell was that not brought up?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, that's I don't even know which one's the worst. I honestly I think Thomas might be the least of them, because at least I was looking a little bit as we're doing this. Thomas does have a high strikeout rate, so maybe, and he has a higher strikeout rate than Meneses, so maybe that's what David Bell's thinking. That's about. I'm going out on a limb here. I understand that.
That's like the Cubs being in town, Nick, and the Reds pitched to Ian Happ at Great American Ballpark and said, well, we felt like we were due against him. I don't care if you felt like you were due. He's mashed in the ballpark. Don't pitch to him.
Evan, brother, I love you, man. And how were we good with Kevin Newman batting in that spot? I don't get that.
Yeah, enlighten me. If I'm missing something.
Yeah, please. I want to be missing something.
Right. If Kevin Newman has underlying stats that he mashes, let me know.
Yeah. Let's talk about something really downer. I don't want to speculate on Jake Fraley, but if Jake Fraley was unavailable tonight, seems like there's probably a decent chance that Reds could be without him. Either Niall Stenner or he's going to be missing a couple days. That's a huge loss.
Yeah.
He is the Reds' best hitter against right-handed pitching. Maybe at some point, Will Benson, if he can prove it over a little larger sample. Ellie De La Cruz, if he can prove it over a larger sample, could have something to say about that. But right now, on August 4th, going into August 5th, I think Jake Fraley is by far the Reds' best hitter against right-handed pitching. So, man, that would be an absolutely brutal loss. I know India is a couple days away, hopefully. Obviously, if you do get India back, that would help a little bit of that. But India's value is not. There's no one. Jake Fraley is almost one of the least interchangeable players on this team, I think, because he is your left-handed bat that mashes right-handed pitching.
Yeah, and Nick, I mean, you kind of hinted at it, but I mean, Jake Fraley, of course, solid outfielder, great hitter against righties. But I think what really makes him valuable and irreplaceable to this team right now is a big reason why they lost tonight is he is their clutchest hitter.
Thanks for leaving us out to dry here, boss.
He's out with Kevin Newman's stomach bug. But no, I just think that's where Jake Fraley shines, Nick. I mean, whenever the Reds need a big hit, whenever the Reds have a runner on second base, in a tie game or whatever, who ends up coming up with that big hit all year long? It seems like it's Jake Fraley. He leads the team in RBIs. He's the best hitter with runners in scoring position. And for a team that right now is really struggling to score runs consistently, besides hitting the ball out of the ballpark, being without Jake Fraley for days, weeks, whatever it is, that would be a colossal loss.
Yeah. No other there's no other way around it. Have we touched on everything? Should we do tomorrow's game? I think we have a bullpen game for the Nationals. Nationals, if you want to talk about a team that has really poor beat writing, they have like no beat writers. So finding out information about the Washington Nationals is
they should, maybe Davey Martinez writes for the team when he's out of he's down in the dark. Maybe that's
we got a TBA. I'm thinking maybe that's a bullpen game. Thank God we have Andrew Abbott tomorrow. Need a big start from him. I feel like poor Andrew Abbott has I feel like he's had to have all these like unfair like expectations on him.
Nick,
I'll have another one tomorrow.
The Nationals just announced tomorrow's starter will be right-handed pitcher Yohan Adon.
I don't even know who that is. So
he's got 5 innings this year and a 5.4 earned run average.
Is he a starter or a reliever?
It's hard to tell. He's pitched 5 innings this year. I'm gonna guess long reliever. He's pitched 2 games, 5 innings, but he was a starter on that team last year and he went 1-12.
All right. Well, I mean, obviously that's a good matchup for the Reds. I don't even need to really look into his stats. If he was a guy that was announced 5 minutes ago, it's a good matchup for the Reds. So we'll keep our fingers crossed there. Andrew Abbott is coming off a tough start against the Cubs. 3 1/3, gave up 4 earned runs, did strike out 5. He did not face the Nationals in that 4-game series last time around. One thing that really is incredible about Andrew Abbott this season at home, he's got a 1.60 ERA at Great American Ballpark. That is
we'll play. Yeah,
that'll definitely play. So I accidentally did Shay out of here. But we're and we need a win tomorrow. We need a win tomorrow.
Please. You know what? With the week that the last 4 days the Reds have had, let's do 11-1, something like that. Let's have an easy day tomorrow, please. Let's have Nick and I come on here and have some fun. I don't want to do this again.
Yeah, I got you back tomorrow. So
yeah,
man, you were on a streak too, weren't you?
Let me tell you, Nick, I'm starting to think I'm the Jonathan India of Chatterbox Reds guests, because I'll be I'll be on an unconscious run and then I'll be hitting 170 and then it's just up and down and up and down. I don't know what I am at this point.
You are a very streaky player. Is the season over? I saw that a lot in the chat. The season's not over.
No.
This is as bad of a loss as you'll have. Worst loss of the year. No question about it. I don't even think it's close. This team has responded after bad losses, more so after bad stretches than losses like this. But the season's not over. As it stands right now, Pirates are winning 8-3 in the 6th against the Brewers. If that happens, Reds are still just a half game out in the NL Central. The Marlins are down 6-2 to the Rangers in the 8th inning. If that score holds, the Reds still hold a postseason spot. So no, the season's not over. I said weeks ago when we were talking about the trade deadline and all this kind of stuff, I wasn't sure how the rest of the season would play out. Reds have a lot of unproven players, and I don't know how they're going to play in September. I think it's unfair to really speculate one way or the other. We'll have to kind of see. But bad losses happen, and I don't know how people are going to take this. They might hate me more. This might be therapeutic? I don't know. But in 2010, there was a really, really bad loss. Reds were up 8-0 on the Atlanta Braves, and they lost the game on this.
2-2 count. High fly ball, pretty well hit. Back goes Nix at the wall, leaps, it's off his glove. It's a grand slam, and the Braves win it. Are you kidding me?
I can't watch any more of it, but
Yeah,
you get the point. That was as brutal and as painful of a loss I can ever remember. Reds went on to win the NL Central. So
that was whipped cream on the turd Sunday tonight. Thanks, Nick.
I wasn't sure. Hey, I'm trying here, folks. I'm trying. We do this after 162. This was game, I think, 111. So we'll be back tomorrow. God bless the lovely left arm of Andrew Abbott.
Here's rooting for Yohan Adone to be 1-13 in his big league career.
Yeah, can we please just have a comfortable dub tomorrow and a fun chat? But hey, hope your Friday night is better than how the Reds ended. I hope your Friday night's better than David Bell.
David had a tough Friday night, that's for sure.
We'll be here tomorrow. Hopefully better than ever. Take care, everyone.